I've decided to do these Facebook Lives. Finnabear, who's actually called Anna, has suggested that us creatives do something to keep everybody busy. So even if you're not a crafter, it really doesn't matter. Just join the fun. I can see comments. Hi, Kay. Um, Hi, Mocha. Welcome. So, yes, Mocha, you might recognize this. The dew and dry clay. I've experimented for the first time with this morning. So I'm gonna I haven't even watched any videos on it, but I decided at the last minute that this is what I'm going to be using. This is what Mocha suggested that I use in the molds because instead of using the polyurethane, which is solid and then you have to heat it to bend it, this you can take out of the mold straight away and you can bend it around things like I've got going in the heart. So we're going to be doing a canvas. We're not going to be finishing it. So the point of my lives is not to see, how's it, Rod? Is not to see a whole finished project. I have a stash of stuff out. I'm going to just show you what I've got. So I've raided my stash, shopped my stash, because I can. I'm one of the lucky ones who has a stash of stuff. This is, so these are snip art dies, chipboards, and this is MDF. No, yes, MDF. It's nice and thick. Also by Snip Art. And as usual, like when I'm designing my journal pages, I've kind of done a theme. I've decided I'm going to go with a heart. And yesterday when I took the photograph, that was white. It's just polystyrene. But in order to use the crackle, it needs to dry. So, and that's not going to happen during a Facebook Live. And I wasn't sure which heart I'm going to use. I've got this polystyrene 3D one, or I've got that flat one. And in both cases, I have used Finnabear's texture paste gold crackle, because that's what I have in my stash. And I've made little samples for the top of each of my jars so that when I'm looking in my drawer I can see, I don't have to read what each one is. So yes, I've pulled out a whole pile of chipboards. I don't intend using them all, but you know, the creative process, it kind of happens as you go. I found these rather gorgeous wings at a craft shop here in Berlin. I actually found them at Christmas time, but I figured my heart with wings might look quite nice. I've since kind of had a change of plan because I thought they would look quite cool, something like that. Kind of like Icarus wings. But since I found the clay and these icing molds arrived, which I have used with the polyurethane and they work absolutely perfectly, but the nice thing about icing molds is that you can peel, they're very flexible, and you can just hi Christiana, you can, hi Verity, you can just peel the clay out straight away. It's not potter's clay, it's air drying clay, so I suppose it's a bit like DAS. For those of you who know DAS, that's what I grew up with as a kid. Okay, so that's what I have on my desk. And again, in preparation for the base of my canvas, I have already worked through my Tim Holtz stencil, this design, and it's using the South African Dala product. It's texture paste. When I actually look at it closely, it's not so much a paste like the normal white thick pastes. It's more like gel medium with a very, very fine sand in it. So it's called coarse texture paste. And this, of course, takes quite a while to dry. So if you're wanting to work on top of it, I suggest you do this either if you've got summer in the part of the world where you are, because it's about 6 degrees outside where I am. You can stick it outside to dry. I don't recommend heat drying like with a heat tool, either with a hairdryer or a heat gun. I don't recommend heat drying these things because they tend to bobble and blister. That's fine if that's the look you're going for. Sometimes it's quite fun, but it's generally not what I'm looking for. So I have put the stencil down. This is going to be the bottom of my canvas. Of course, I'm going to have to work sideways when I'm building so that you guys can see, which is fine. As my art students will tell you, I can work anyway, upside down even. It's preferable to work upside down. I don't know if any of you have heard about working on the right side of the brain. So your brain has two halves, and your left side is your logical side. It's the side that works everything out. It's the side that's constantly talking to you and naming things. So when we are learning to draw, if you actually copy a picture upside down, the left side can no longer recognize what the objects are in theory. Obviously, you can still see what they are, and you can copy the shapes. So it allows the right side of your brain to work on the shapes. So I thought today we'll work on some construction tips, ideas. As I said to you, we will not be finishing this. I will be doing probably another set of Facebook Lives next week, and it will be on the painting of this project. So today will just be the construction, because I'm not into trying to paint things and technique things while the glue is still wet and everything's moving. And yeah, so when I design something, and I'm going to pull things off the wall to show you ideas, there needs to be an underlying structure. So a lot of people struggle and with these kind of projects because they slap a whole lot of things on, and then they kind of feel uncomfortable and they're not sure why. I see a lot of people in groups posting, I've got this far, but I don't really like it. I'm not sure why. And it's usually because there isn't a focus. So you need a focal point when you are designing something. So in my case, it's going to be the heart. It might be bang in the middle of the canvas, preferably off to one side. So there are various rules in art. All rules can be broken, of course. So there is the 2/3 rule. So what does that mean? 2/3 versus 1/3 of either background. So you can have 2/3 of background, flat and simple and plain, and 1/3 of object and focal point and texture. Or you can go for 2/3 busy background and 1/3 kind of calm and smooth area. So the other thing is often, well, it's kind of balanced. It depends on your personality. If you like everything balanced and organized and central, that's fine. So you can pop your focal point in the middle, or you can put it off to one side. In other words, the 2/3 rule, so that it's taking up 2/3 of this space. Okay, my math, being an artist, is not the greatest. So obviously that is not 1/3, but you get the idea. Visually, something is more interesting if it is off center. So in this case, I'm going to put my heart on that side. And for some reason, I like things balanced on the left. So if I look at all my works that I have done, for example, this one, I have put the clock on the left-hand side. And here I've got an underlying structure of verticals and horizontals. So my verticals are quite strong and my horizontals are little broken up individual pieces, but visually your eye sees that. So here I've got 2/3 of my canvas is filled with texture, but I've essentially kept most of it balanced to the top with a little bit of balanced detail down at the bottom. Okay, so that's that one. Whoops, let's not try and cause an avalanche. Okay, let's get this one off my shelf. Right, here I have a fetish with hearts, cupcakes, and circles. So with this one, I have put the heart over there, and I have built my busyness around it there, and then I have built a smaller balancing collection of things down at the bottom. Yeah, Christiana, it's fun to play with, and of course you don't have to glue it straight away. You can, so a lot of people glue as they work. Me, I like to plot and plan and then glue, which can be irritating if you've got a whole lot of things like this built on top of each other. And that's also what makes things interesting, is the layers. You need to build layers. If you have everything just sitting next to itself, then it's okay. But what makes things really interesting is building different layers, and your layers don't have to be that high. You can build it with flat things. So in other words, you can use die cuts, you can use bottle tops, you can use whatever you've got in your stash. In fact, if you look at this one, underneath there is a piece of my old printer that died. I ripped the whole printer apart and took out as many things as I can use. So here are some cogs and gears from that. These are as well. I've used a glue gun, some strips of fabric and lace. This was an old necklace. Here's some old earrings, an old keyboard. So you can go and raid the garage for screws and nuts and bolts and anything with an interesting texture. It doesn't all have to be art stuff. So that's actually where I started. Of course, I have the advantage of having been collecting things for years, so I have quite a stash of things. This canvas might be a bit long that I'm going to show you now. Let's see if it fits in the screen. Yep, just. So again, I've gone with the heart off center. I've brought it a bit further down the canvas. Here's another piece from my printer. You know those Kinder Joy eggs? My son used to absolutely love those. And so there's bits and pieces from various games from those things. There's buttons. There's an old zip pull that broke off a top. There's, I have no idea what that is, but it's an interesting shape. There's some chipboard, die cuts. And if we go down to the bottom of the canvas over here, here is a wheel that came off one of my son's toys. More buttons. I've used paper clips in places on other projects. These are beads, normal seed beads from the bead shop. And then again, I've just used normal texture paste in the background over there. Okay, so you can see again, sorry, I meant to just mention the underlying structures. So I've got a horizontal, a very strong horizontal, another horizontal, a lot of chaos, and then very strong vertical lines. And these were done with a glue gun, and there's the rest of my necklace. So all my hoarding has its advantages when you are an artist, but I do hoard in cohesive manner. When I say that, I'm not one for scratching through my stash. So here is a little bit of my chaos. You can see old toys, bits of random, it's really random, broken jewelry, clips, all those rubbishy things that you get out of Christmas crackers, random bits in here. How's it, Michael? So I keep them in usable little, well, I reuse packets that other stuff has come in so that I can scratch and find what I want. Okay, so yeah, my basic underlying structure of this is going to again have some horizontals and some verticals, and I'm not sure at this stage whether I'm going to use this heart, which is probably too big for this canvas, but it can stick off. It doesn't have to all sit in the middle of your canvas. I pulled these out because they're vertical. I pulled these out because they have verticals, and they also have the hearts that kind of match my theme. I pulled this out because it's also quite a strong vertical and might be quite fun to build. I found this, which might go somewhere. It's It's got a little clear thing. I can put some beads and things inside there. Might not use this because the heart is a different shape to that heart, but if I used this heart, those two might work quite nicely together. So this is how my brain works. I'm just kind of talking out loud how I'm like thinking through the process. Again, these keys are a nice vertical structure or horizontal. I'm gonna just, so these have little tabs that keep them from falling out. So you can see that's quite a nice strong horizontal, and I'm going to push this one out without breaking. Oh, it's so delicate, without breaking all these details. So it might be quite nice there. And these are hinges, and what I will show you just now when I play with the air dry clay is I'm going to make a lock, a keyhole, which I'm going to put over there. So the keys, as I said to you, I normally have a theme going. So I've got heart and key to my heart, and yeah, just I like to have some sort of message, not actual message, which is also why I've got the Eiffel Tower, because Paris is, you know, a city of love. Oh, let's not break that, it's so delicate. And that's also quite a nice strong vertical. So, and then I've got these flourishes. So today my other challenge for myself is to not put gears on it. For those of you who know my work, I love steampunk. Steampunk usually incorporates some gears somewhere. So I am going to challenge myself to not put gears on. I hope I can stick to it. I love the shape of the gears. I love the textures of the gears. Hi Lizzie. Yeah, so to not put gears on is going to be a challenge. So I'm just picking out, weeding out these bits there. Those, you see, now this is the hoarder in me. Those are also quite interesting textures, so I won't throw those away. I'll probably use them somewhere. But this key is quite a nice strong horizontal over there, and maybe I'll have this one going the other way around so that I have all interesting on that side and build my volume on that side and let the skinny bit go this way. So yes, I'm giving you a little bit of insight into my creative brain and how I think. So Olga always teases me because when I'm thinking I'm usually quite quiet. So to think out loud is quite a challenge. Anyway, I'm always up for a challenge. I'm going to grab some of these because, again, they're rather pretty and they have a nice horizontal feel to them. So it doesn't have to be an absolute linear thing. It could be, so she's very detailed. On top of this, busyness will disappear. So I'm going to choose that one. And again, they have these tiny little tabs that keep them from falling out. So I think I'm going to have her. And of course, Paris is haute couture. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, having absolutely no French in my background at all. So, okay, so I've got quite a strong key going there. Coming down, I've got another key going there. Let's have some of these. I'm going to break the background because it's just easier than breaking my object as I go silent and try and get it out. Okay, so that's quite nice. Let's again break that there and there. And I actually did see on one of the Facebook pages somebody who had done a steampunk project used the bits that had come out around the edge of her project. So sometimes those bits are quite nice to use as a texture around the edge. I won't be doing that today, but I have been known to keep stuff. Right, so there's a nice horizontal, that's a horizontal. And when you are designing things, so I've got one of these and one of those, but when I start putting a whole lot of things down, I look for things that I can repeat at least 3 times. So when I start with flowers and so on and shock and horror, yes, I will use some flowers today, but they won't be paper flowers. They will be resin flowers. But there will be flowers nonetheless. So I've been known to use resin flowers. I have a whole box of silk and paper flowers. Sorry, I'm trying not to break this beautiful, delicate thing. I have a whole box of paper flowers, and I often take them out, and then either I decide they're too pretty to use, and I put them away again, or I decide that I really don't feel like painting paper flowers. So I put them away again. Because what I'm going to do, so I've shown you 2 different projects. One was a white base and the other one was a black base. I'm more than likely going to go towards the black base for this one. And for that you can either use black gesso. I cheat and use black spray paint because I find the gesso is very thick and it tends to hide the details. So where you've got tiny little details like this, the gesso can fill up those details, and on smooth surfaces like this, it can leave brush strokes, which sometimes you want, but on a project like this, I don't. So I will, what I call, cheat and use spray paint, the cheapest spray paint I can find. So, okay, now I've got those pulled out. Not sure about this guy. It's quite big in comparison to the rest of the project. I think I'll keep this for something else. I have a whole lot of words, so forever might be quite nice. It's also quite a nice font. I have my love. Those might go somewhere. Okay, so that's the thought process. So I've got 2 keys down. I definitely need a 3rd key, and I'll probably hide it up there. Right, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put all of this aside, and I'm going to show you how to use the Do and Dry clay. This is only the 2nd time I'm using it, so as I did yesterday, nothing like learning online with all of you. It's really not difficult stuff to use. So now I'm looking for where I squirreled, and I've just, there we go. I told you I live in a Bermuda Triangle of my own making. So I just taped this shut. And you really don't need a lot. I used that mold, no, sorry, that one for the hinge, and I think because I haven't got much space on my heart, I'm going to use this skinny keyhole, and you use just a little bit, and I push it in. It's quite nice because it doesn't really stick to you. It's not like traditional clay. It's quite, in fact, that tiny little bit is even too much. So I'm just going to stick some back, and you push it in and get it everywhere. And then I just used my, hi Marlene, welcome. I just used the edge of my spatula or palette knife, sorry, it's not a spatula, to take the excess off. And the joy of this is if you mess it up when you take it out, well, you just push it right back in again. I'm trying to get down to all the details that are in there. Okay. Do and Dry is from where? I bought it from Mitliebe. When I googled it, it's made by Creall, C-R-E-A-L-L. I googled it and it was online all over the place with lots of German videos and German instructions, so I'm assuming you should be able to get it somewhere here in Germany, Christiana. It's not something that I had in South Africa, so okay. So, and the reason for me using this today instead of my normal resin is that I want to be able to bend it around my heart. Bend it like Beckham. Okay. I didn't even watch soccer, so I don't know where that came from. And now you just pop it out of the mold. So you see you can bend the mold. It's quite delicate. And pull it out. There we go. It's that easy. And I think, like any normal door, you have your hinges, and then you would have your lock. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that works well. So I'm going to let that dry for next week, because I'll do the painting next week. I don't want to paint on this. I'm not going to glue it on and then paint it. I'm letting them dry in and create their form. So these I did about an hour ago, and they're already hardening quite nicely. Hi Diane. And yeah, so that's what is going to go over here, and I'm going to put it to one side. And right now we can carry on building now that I've done that, because there's no point in having keys if you don't have a keyhole. Okay, so some of this I might have coming out from underneath, some of it I might have sticking out over the edge. Now something like that is a bit too delicate to stick out. It will break with time, but I don't want to lose that heart. So maybe what I'll do is I will just snip it. It is snip art after all. And I will have that one on that side, and I will have that one coming out that side. Something like that. Okay. And yeah, I'm going to have so that's too much even airspace in between. I want them closer together. So when you are building a project, be it a painting, be it one of these mixed medias, you need to be aware that your negative space, and what do I mean by negative space? This as in your background at the moment, that is your negative space. Your negative space is just as important as your actual objects. So I've got the Eiffel Tower floating at the moment, but that's fine. It's the Eiffel Tower. It's done many things. It can float on a cloud. Right, so now I'm going to start bringing in some other fiddly bits of frilly bits, as I call them. I did have a packet of these open somewhere, but I will just pop them out. What I'm also trying to do, so I've got all this organicness going on down here. This is a very organic design, and I'm trying to repeat the feel in my other objects. I'm not just going for like linear. I'm also going to pop some of these guys out and try and sort of recreate a little bit of that feel up here. So that's what I meant by repetition. So odd numbers, so 3 keys is definitely a win. I have to have 2 of those because, well, doors generally have 2 hinges. Sometimes they have 3, but I don't have enough space on there to have 3. So I'm just going to pop all of these out. I meant this which you find at the hobby side. Ooh, I'm not understanding. Yes, I have this with, but sometimes it break when letting out. Never saw the white one there. Oh, okay. I've never used this before, so I'm afraid I'm not much of a fundy when it comes to these clays. This was just the one that I was advised to use because it was the easiest to use. It wasn't too wet and it's not too sticky, is what Mocha said to me. Mocha, can you help Christiana if you're still in the house? Can you reply to Christiana? Karen saying you can buy it at Action. Use the clay from the kids stuff. It's awesome. Okay, here in Europe we have a shop called Action. For my South African friends, Oh, trying to decide. It's a bit like, no, it's not even like Pep Stores. It's kind of like Pep Stores, but it's not. Trying to think of something similar. It has everything from kitchen stuff to craft stuff to, sorry, you're watching me busy pull these things out, to garage stuff, clothes, toys. It has everything, and it's quite cheap. Cheap. Or as my friend Claire used to say, cheap and nasty. It's not that nasty, actually. It's just nice. Cheap. I think there is action in other countries too. So I'm going to pull hearts out of this. I think these are meant for, obviously, Bridge or Alice in Wonderland or something like that. I might use some of the other shapes. I've got my hearts going there. Okay, now I'm going to raid my other stash. So I have a bag of these flowers. We definitely need 3 of those. These were from Action. These flowers, they're metal flowers on sticky dots. So I'll probably use those. Perhaps Christiana, email Mocha at Mitliebe, because she's got a lot more experience with this stuff than I do. And I store all my ready-made things in categories. So I've got all my different flowers in these things, in baggies. And then I also have them in containers. Let me just go get them. So I sat with Finn's mold the other day and I made a whole lot of stars and I put them in different sizes. I'm not a scratcher. I can't do scratching. I have a bit of OCD, which should be CDO because it should be in alphabetical order, you know. I mean, really, what were they thinking? Using things in random order. Here's some more wings. I think these might be a better size if I'm going to put wings on, and also they're stiff. I still like this wing idea. Okay, so I'm going to use those wings. Then in South Africa there's a lovely company called Rustic Bling, and these are really big molded items which you can buy from them. These are resin. They're very strong. It's not your standard plastic. I think it smells like fiberglass to me, so I'm not sure what they've actually used. So I will hi Maria, hello all. Yep. Here's quite a nice long flowery thing that can fit. It can either go this way. No, I think it can go that way. So I've literally taken out everything from my stash to see what I can use. So I quite like that as a strong accent across. Let's see. Oh, it fits perfectly. Yay! Edge to edge. Okay. And maybe I'll bring that one in there. Oh, that one also fits. Yay! Okay, let's get these guys off here because I'm going to start building around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the live once I've kind of built my construction, and then I will glue it. I will explain how I'm going to glue it. And then next week I will set up another schedule of Facebook Lives, and it will include having the finishing off of this project. So now that I've got that far, now I can have my wings. So I'll have a wing there, and I'll have a wing there. I might need to push it slightly over so I've got a bit more space for glue and stability of that wing. Okay, and let's just get them at the same height. Of course I'll fiddle with all of that kind of thing once I'm actually gluing it, but this is when I start building. So I've got my base layers going on, and I still need, so whatever I put up here, so I'll probably have 2 of these flowery things up here, and I'll definitely need one down there. So it creates what's called a visual triangle. So your eye will go across the canvas like this, especially at this stage when it is so strong. So if you are using things from your stash that have bright colors, it really doesn't actually matter. I know a lot of people find it distracting when they are building to have all these different colors. These are little metal roses. To have all these different colors going on. But at this stage, it actually doesn't matter about the color because I'm going to be painting it all black. What I'm looking for is similar textures. So these are little roses, similar textures to what I've already got going, and building with like-minded stuff. So it doesn't have to be color wise. I'm just going to dump them over there. I just want to grab, I have used these on a art journal cover, which I painted black, of course. Remember, this art journal cover has been to all my classes. This was one of those. It's lost its center. So this was all sorts of different things, and once you've painted it black and added your colors over the top, it really doesn't actually matter. So I had a die cut, this was a pink key, which you can, purple key, plastic key, which you can see now because it's been damaged a bit. But yeah, so it really doesn't actually matter in the end what color your things start off. This I will glue on after spray painting. Remember, polystyrene does not like spray paint. So do not spray paint your polystyrene. Hi Danielle. Danielle is in the house. Linda's in the house. Yes, this isn't painting, but it's the same concept with structure and visual triangles, and it's all the same theory, just applied slightly differently. And I'm going to raid this box of stash because I want some different size hearts. I like this guy because I can't just have one heart. Well, I can, but it would be nice to have some different sizes going on. Let's see if I can pop one up here somewhere. Let's see what else we've got. Love and peace, some fish. Oh, we got some flat hearts. They're quite fun. Bonjour, Beatrice. It's the only word I can say. I keep saying that every time you pop in. And again, I'm going to have 3. Sometimes you can have them together, but still 3 is a comfortable number. And here I have some flowers. It's quite a nice flat one. I had that on a necklace. It broke. See, I keep everything. So when I'm building, I'm just going to hide that little ring thing underneath somewhere and pop a whole lot of these flowers down. As I said, I'm trying to not use cogs and gears. That's my challenge to myself. It's my own little personal challenge. So because everything I do lands up having cogs and gears and things on, and as I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just that I will be doing a steampunk project later in the week, and that's going to have cogs and gears and pipes and lots of things on it. So oh, there's a leaf. That's rather nice. So yes, so at the moment I'm just scratching through my stuff and popping things down. I will be gluing it later and building layers. So this, you won't see the full thing of this. Okay. I quite like this big guy. He's rather big, but it might be quite nice down here as a balance for that. So I might pop this big guy down here. No, he's too big. Too big, too big, too big. But I have one size down. Or maybe 2 sizes down. That's better. Here's another flower. Okay, so that's how I roll. And so we start to build textures and layers and things going on elsewhere. So as I said, I'm trying to bring this scrolly pattern up here, and so the more layers you can have, the better. So we have 3 of these, which is very nice of them. So I might have one there, one somewhere down here, and one in this composition over there. Okay, so how are we doing for time? I have no idea how long I have been streaming, because now I can't see on my phone. Oh well, we'll just keep going. So now I'm raiding my stash of other roses, and they can go up there, another one down there. That's a nice texture. So I'm looking for textures, and I'm looking for shapes that will visually work across the canvas. I've got these 2 building my vertical and that building my horizontal over here. I've got these together with my horizontal working that way. What I might do is, so I've got these polyurethane guys. They're quite busy and quite strong. I might put that on that side, or I might just build with some lace. So I might just get some lace out and build over there. Hi Nubby. I'm going through the how to build stage. It's annoying me that that is fallen down, but anyway, it will behave itself once it is glued. Okay, so we need this guy back over here in that group, and these are what came out of the key. As I said, they will probably just go somewhere for added texture. There was a 3rd one lurking here. Where's it gone? So I mean, as I said, you can use paper clips, you can use buttons, you can use anything you like that will help to build visual texture. And I think that's probably where I'm going to leave things for now. I will build on top of there and have some more of those swirls over there, and definitely have some coming out over here. So, and this is what I meant by layers. So at this stage it's quite difficult to, so I'm not gluing anything, so nothing's really staying put, but it's giving me the idea of what's going on. So we can have that coming onto the wings. I might decide I want the wings on top of everything. I might build stuff underneath the wings to have the wings slightly higher up the heart. So I will put something underneath there. I did pull out, where did I put them? So when I bought Tim's flat metal discs, I used the packaging and I put some polyurethane in to create some more items. So I often keep packaging. Yes, I'm a hoarder. You can call me a hoarder. I'm a professional hoarder. I hoard in neat little baggies and neat little piles. So I recently bought Finn's matte waxes, and they came in this lovely packaging which pulled off the cardboard so nicely, and I will be able to put something over that and put something inside. So yes, I hoard things. So I could, I suppose, throw, if I wanted big disc in polyurethane, I could throw polyurethane in there and this could be a mold. So that's how my brain works. I look at everything as something that I can use for something else, because if it's in my studio, it's got to do more than one job, preferably. And these little dots, you can get those lovely clear glass ones, which are fabulous. But if I'm going to be spray painting everything black, I don't want to waste those. So I take one of these. Oh no, I don't have one on my desk. Those artist palettes, you get them in a ring and you get them in sets of 4 and sets of 6, a little artist palette. If you pop your polyurethane in those, you get these perfect, shiny, smooth dots. So what I'm looking for when I'm building this visually is I'm not only looking for the textures, I'm also looking for different surfaces, which is why I'm going to spray paint it so that that stays smooth and these guys will be smooth and shiny. So guys, I call them guys. Yo. So we can build on top here. So visually it becomes a problem when you don't want to hide things. So you can tuck things under something else. That's what I meant about building layers, because visually for your eye, it's more interesting to have these layers than your eye than for you sort of like look at something and go, oh, that's a heart, oh, that's a this, oh, that's a that. So it is more interesting to play with layers. This leaf is quite nice, but I've only got one. So maybe it can end this off instead of that one. That's quite nice. So again, I'm building this up here. I've got a strong vertical going down there, and then I'm going to have a big to small grouping of things over here. So I'll probably have this heart further over, or maybe in there. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that as a construction. Maybe this wing needs something, because on this side I've got things going onto the wing, and at the moment the only thing on this wing is that heart, but that's just also because it's misbehaving. Misbehaving because it's not glued. So maybe, yes, you see, misbehaving. Stay for now, just stay. And then I'll probably have some more flowers and things going on. Right, so hi Hillary, hi Chrissy. Yeah, so that's where I'm going to leave it, I think, for today. I will, of course, once it's glued, pop it on my Facebook page for everybody to see. And next week we will do the coloring of this. So I will, as I said, I'm in my mind at this stage it's going black, and I will be putting the colors on top. So yeah, above me I have the one that I showed earlier, which is all white, then the one with the clock, which is white and black, and then the all black. So probably this one will go all black. So at this stage I know it's looking very busy because of all the different colors and things, and it's a bit visually off-putting, but I promise it will all sort itself out next week once we get our color scheme going. So I hope you enjoyed that sort of constructive lesson. And yeah, when I do these lives, I try and give more information than me chatting about stuff while I glue and stick things. So I try and give you a bit of an insight into my thinking process, into everything that I've learned. I've taught art for 20 years. Some of my students are in the house. Hi Esme. So yeah, that's how I plan on doing these things. Just a little bit of teaching, a little bit of fun, a little bit of insight, and for you to go home. Well, you don't have to go home. Hello, you are all home. We are all stuck at home. And for you to go to your desk, garage, raid, your old broken jewelry, things you planned on repairing and never did, and make your own designs and projects and things. Whether you do it as I showed you on my art journal cover, on a canvas. It's getting to the point where I'm starting to run out of canvases, so I went down to the recycling. Here in Germany we're very big on recycling, I know in South Africa too, and I grabbed a nice thick piece of box out of the recycling that can turn into a canvas. So really scratch around, use anything, use a piece of wood, use whatever you can find. It doesn't have to be a canvas. These are interesting times, and it's forcing us to be more creative depending on what we have. So it doesn't have to be all fancy, expensive art materials. And yep, just have fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.